All right. Welcome, 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 everyone. We are celebrating a magnificent day, a day
Mhm.
to in honor of our
Yeah.
beautiful Melodie Yates. Kim, do you have your book handy?
I do. Let me go get it. I can't believe I forgot to bring it. Hold on.
uh, what an incredible day of celebration of joy. Anybody that's in the background that has their camera off, you're welcome to join us because it looks like we're going to do this with all of us present. And what an incredible fun day to say we did this. And of course, Melody Yates, for you to be able to say, I did this because look at this. And it's been
Yeah.
a
Woo!
combination of
Here.
many hearts, many hands, many everything that has made this happen. So let's celebrate this day. And I want to start with the journey. The
Mm,
journey that had you putting this
mm.
even the concept of putting this book together. Melody, let's talk about where this all began for you.
I don't even actually know where to start. It began, the poems themselves began as a way of me coping and releasing the emotion and the frustration and just j- when your spouse has Alzheimer's, at some point conversation is difficult. You can't really share. You can't, like, I couldn't say, today I really don't want to hear that same story again. You know,
Mm.
you gotta lean somewhere else. And so I went to pen and paper, and sometimes sometimes he'd be sitting here, the television would be on, and I'd be writing. you know, or
Mhm.
sometimes it would be when he was asleep, you know, and then he'd pop out, are you coming to bed? Yeah, I want to stay up just a little while. Oh, take your time. And then, like maybe 5 seconds later, are you coming to bed? I'd like to stay a little bit longer. Okay, just take your time, no hurry. Are you coming to bed? So, I mean, it's if you can't find the humor in some of this, then it's just a deeper spiral downward. So anyway, so I was writing, and then every once in a while I would feel like, well, I've got to share this. And of course, my what is it that Harriet says, my posse. you know,
Mhm.
sometimes I would call them sort of late at night and say, I just have to read this to you. And of course, because they love me, they'd say, oh, that's beautiful. And then I started sharing with the caregivers group that I was in. Dr. Lori Stevick Rust is here. She's been
Mm.
facilitating this group for many years and has been extremely helpful. And so then I started sharing with them, and their first kind of response was, oh, you really need to publish this. And my response was, yeah, sure.
Mm.
Yeah, like, of course. So, and then Kim Douglas started this. I think it was just really for me. She didn't know that. She didn't know, but she started the program of Right to Unite. And so I joined that and found a community of support and her guidance and coaching and mentoring. And the next thing I knew, I was here. Although let me back up and say that along the road, was I supposed to like stop talking? Because those of you who know me well.
Well, we can you can talk as long as you want, and we just want to pull everybody in together to in this celebration. And as we walk the journey, we see a lot of faces here that have shared in this journey with you. And it's remarkable to see everybody show up in support of you. And so this is a day where this hasn't been an easy journey for you. And yet this is a day that we can all say, this has been accomplished. And Kim, you've worked closely with Melodie. As Tammy has with all the illustrations, she's done a remarkable job. Those illustrations in this book, and in particular this picture on the cover, it speaks volumes, and your illustrations helped make this book and pull it together in such a remarkable way. So Kim, as you and we'll come back to you, Tammy, about that process. Kim, let's talk about this journey as you and Melodie came together to okay, we're gonna bring this book to the world. Um, but we need to refine, we need to do a lot of things to make this to where it's a good read for other people that can relate. Let's talk about that process.
Thank you. First of all, Melodie, I'm so glad to be a part of this day to honor you. And I also want to recognize Janice Nelson, the editor. I'm a visionary. I love writing. I taught writing for 28 years at the colleges, and I just have come to a place where I believe each one of us has a story. And we know that life is full of struggles, and we grow through facing our struggles. And Melodie's story is not, the personal story is part of the collective.
Yes.
It's a social story as well. And so I see the bigger vision that this is a story that can serve. These are poems that other people who are navigating this journey, and even people who may be navigating this journey, because we're all aging, and we know the rates for dementia and Alzheimer's are high, and we may be a caregiver at some time. So I immediately saw the bigger picture and how this story could serve. And Melodie's poems, the brilliance of them is that Melodie, she's a woman with a doctorate. She's brilliant. She's used her mind to navigate through life. And that served her through this journey. And her poems are a combination of bringing in the details of the journey, the story of the journey, and the use of her mind to help her get through these challenges, the day-to-day, hour-to-hour, inescapable challenges when you love someone who's going through a disease. And so to work with Melodie, we have, many people who have been a part of the writing group and part of the program that Melodie has been a part of, that are here today. We have walked with her through the creation and revision of these poems. And I think that one of the exciting things happened that I bet Lori, Dr. Rest may love, is that part of the vision suddenly included, what if we added questions that could help readers who are on the caregiving journey take some needed time to reflect. Maybe they're going to be like Melodie brilliantly was part of a support community, that these questions could even serve those who are running such groups to, we have a poem, we have the story of how the poem was created. We have some quotes and passages that can uplift and help us endure. And then these questions for our own reflection, because everyone's experience, even though it's unfortunately too common of an experience, is unique. And so it was just that whole journey. It's like it was, a book is like you're pregnant with a book, and then it starts taking shape and you give birth to it today. And then working with you, of course, Becky, has been wonderful to have a partner who can bring this through to publication and do what I don't do. I help get help someone get their
Give it back.
manuscript ready for publication. And Janice, without Janice and her editorial eye, I'm the big picture person, and Janice is in there line by line, word by word, helping out. So it's and working with Melodie, his you know, what graciousness, what a generous nature, what a compassionate woman and an authentic woman. And I think the group, those of us, maybe some of you can raise your hand who are part of the writing group that have, you know, been in supporting Melodie, that just encouraging her, tell your authentic story. It's okay. This is not, you know, the reality, if she had a woo-woo book, oh, everything, you know, I'm serving and it's all great, you know, and I'm a saint. Nobody could relate to that, but it's the truth. Truthfulness leads to progress and success. And so we were able to encourage, yes, your truth matters. So congratulations, Melodie. You know, ultimately, you know, all the coaching can be provided, editing, but going step by step, taking the time to give this thoughtful consideration, not a rush McDonald's drive-through job, taking thoughtful, considerate time to bring it to fruition. And I look forward, I know you're already working on the next book, so it's, oh, this is the beginning of more to come.
Well, we
Yeah, we'll
wanna-
do a commercial later.
Absolutely.
Thank you
It has
for
been
all your kind
tremendously
words.
fun. Yeah.
You know, my compulsion is to look behind me and say, who are you talking about? What?
Yeah, we all know that who's in the group. That's why we're like, no, you're gonna shine, girl. We're gonna help you shine.
Thank you.
Lori, we would like to bring you into this conversation because we all know that very few of us will escape the time that a family member will perhaps we will be taking caretaking, and it's not a fun journey. And it can rock you to your core, but to see the support that is here and to know the journey that our Melodie has taken, let's address that with you. And I know your work in the world is very important in this regard. Let's talk about that.
Well, thank you, Becky. And I'm going to echo again how proud I am of Melodie and I don't know what's going on here, girl, but the courage it takes to do this. You know, writing is hard enough to all of our writers out there, but the courage to put you in a very raw, personal way in service of other people who are going to read this is just a gift. So congratulations. I'm so proud of you. And I think, Becky, what you're sharing is absolutely the truth in this. Is you just have to look at the numbers, and you just have to look at the aging population, and either each of us personally, or a touch point very close to us is going to come into contact with this terrible disease until we can figure out how to change that and alter that from the science perspective. I think that when we talk about the effect of caregiving in general, it's painful across the board, but it's a very different creature when we're dealing with somebody with cognitive deficits. So I've run programs, I'm a health psychologist, I've run programs for 35 years, and they're all painful, but there's something very unique and raw about addressing caregiving for somebody who is present, but not present. It's a whole new layer of grieving. And so I think Melodie's first poem about, at least the one that maybe not chronologically the first, but the first shared in the group that just struck a chord was the Drip by Drip poem. And I think because of that, losing slowly is such a painful journey. But to your point, Kim, when you talked about the questions, it's not just reading the poems, it's being able to see yourself in the poems and using them in a way to draw out what's happening to you. Because we tend to do a couple of things with grief, and one of them is to just shut down and go, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. We just continue to be the little engine that could. And poetry and the arts, like the way that Melodie has put this to paper, sparks such an emotional reaction. It forces us into our grieving journey in a way that I think just language can't do that for us. So
Beautiful. And I think that, as I look at this screen, thank you for sharing that, Lori.
Welcome.
As I
Thank you
look
for
at this
being here.
screen with all these beautiful faces, and we know I see Aaron Yates, who is, I'm assuming your son, Melodie.
Yes, yes.
And I know your children have had to have walked this journey alongside you, and it can be very difficult to watch a parent go through this journey. And if you cared, if you want to share part of your feelings about your this book coming to the world, Aaron, you're more than happy, or we would love for you to turn on your mic and share a little bit of this journey. And don't want to put you on the spot, but if you want to do that, that would be awesome. And Tammy, let's talk about your journey and your participation in bringing these amazing images to the fore for each of the chapters.
Oh, thank you. As all of you kind of touched on, and Melodie mentioned, I'm her daughter-in-law. Aaron and I have been married for 13 some years, and right soon after Richard's diagnosis. So kind of had a front seat to all the sacrifices that Melodie has made in caring for Richard. And the one thing that I just cannot, I can't even wrap my mind around is how much love and respect Melodie has for Richard. And I joke with Aaron, I'm like, I hope I feel like that about you in 50 years. It's really beautiful and inspiring how much dignity Melodie maintained for Richard and maintains for Richard is, I have not seen it many places. And this book is just like another testament to that. You know, she loves him so much. And yeah, and so but it was also so hard for us as her family to watch her suffering and navigating these spaces. And, we're all far away, so there's not so much that we can do as her children. But she just handles it all with so much love and everything in her life. She does this. But it just was really, and it is beautiful. And this book is a pure labor of love. And I was just so honored that she would ask me to do the illustrations. I mean, that's what I do. I'm an artist, but I just, and so, yeah, I'm honored that she asked me to do this. And I actually finished all the illustrations in like 3 days because I was so inspired by her poetry. My son watched a lot of TV for 3 days in a row because I was just so inspired. I was like, you're just gonna have to deal and we'll make up for it later. And when she was writing the poems, she would send us videos of herself reading the poems. And throughout the years, like over the last 10 years or so. And so a lot of them are actually inspired by the images of her reading them. I don't even know if I've shared that with you.
Didn't know that.
And so, yeah, they were just a pure labor of love. And just as she would read them to me, that her, and her journey in this was always at the forefront of my mind. So yeah, the image of them on the cover is actually from a photograph that I took of them like 3 years ago, maybe. And I just felt like it captured their love so much, which is like the purest, most beautiful love ever. And so, and I mean, I'll speak for all the kids because I know they all feel this way. We're all so proud of you. And just love you so much. So
Oh, it's so beautiful and such a tribute. I have truly enjoyed working with Melody because she's always has such a graciousness and such a sweet spirit and really a testimony to the woman that she is, but also such an example for each one of us because I know my mother is kind of starting down this road and we live 1,000 miles away and she'll repeat herself like 20 times asking the same question and it's like you to go inward and say, how would I feel if I was the one repeating myself? And how would, how does she feel? And having the patience, just the patience for the repeat, the repeat, the repeat, and the things that happen with that, let alone your whole emotions, everything that goes in with that, and watching somebody before your eyes just, kind of slip away. And it's very difficult. And I have several family members that are going through this. So you're a living testament to all of us of the beauty of you.
You know, people could keep telling me that I need to learn how to receive. So I'm trying, but y'all are kind of like freaking me out. To tell you the truth. But I want to say, the repetition thing, which I think is, among the more difficult, things to do. I really have to acknowledge Aaron, because at some point I think I was maybe complaining, or of course, I never complained, so that couldn't have been it. But and he said, you just have to think about it as the first time, every time. And and I actually tried to do that. I mean, I didn't always make it, but it helped me reframe, and to, I mean, maybe like after the 10th time, it was hard to fake it. But nonetheless. And Aaron, I don't know if you want to say something or not. I mean, now you're being put on the spot by me too. So.
I wasn't planning to say anything, but y'all did. Whether y'all wanted to put me on the spot or not, y'all put me on the spot. I have to go back to work actually, so I'm gonna log off right after. I'm just gonna say what I say and then drop the mic and be out. I guess let me just say, Mom, I love you so much, and I'm really proud of you for following this project through, because I think it's been even longer than 12 or 13 years. I think it's been something you've been working on the entire time, like since probably before the Alzheimer's diagnosis, when it was mild cognitive dysfunction. I think that there were already times where you were writing poems and you would send them to me or read them to me. And I always struggle to give you very much direct feedback on any of those things because, you're my mom. But I always, I'm pretty sure I always said, keep going, keep writing, keep doing it, and share it. So I'm really proud of you for not letting all of the other voices that I know sometimes whisper in your ear convince you to stop or turn back or to not share it and not put it out there. And I think that, all the people here on the call and that have been touched by your writing over these months where you've been more kind of intensely moving the project forward, see why that was the right thing to do. And I'm sure that many people, whether they ever meet you in person, but that come across the work or see it online or tell of it or get a hold of it, will also appreciate the fact that you kept going and that you shared this experience and your reflections on it in this way. So I'm really proud of you, and I love you, and I'm gonna go now, but I hope that the rest of the session goes very well.
Love you
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you.
Erin. So I would
Oh,
love.
sorry, one more thing.
Okay, good.
Tammy, your illustrations are amazing, and I think that the love that you had was reflected in the drawings that you came up with and how they match with all of those things. And I also want to say that I'm really proud of you for doing that, because I know sometimes you have the same thing as my mom, where you have talent and you have a gift, but you don't feel confident to share it. And I'm really glad that you said yes when she asked you to do it, and that you followed it through. And now all these people also got a chance to experience your art. I love you and I'm proud of you too. And what you said was beautiful.
Thank you.
Awesome. So we would like to open this up now for anybody that there's a along the bottom toolbar. If you want to make a comment, you can raise your hand. I'll call on you. Open it up for questions or sharing what this journey, knowing Kim, or excuse me, Melodie, has been for you, and the journey that you've walked alongside of Melodie, because this is really important. And what I see here is a support system, which is the key to really being able to withstand the difficulty of a situation like this. And so let's open it up. Just you'll have to unmute yourself when if you want to talk, but put your little hand or just go like this. I'll see you. And let's just enjoy this conversation. Linda, I see you're unmuted. Did you want to say something?
I'd love to say something. And what I want to start with is I just absolutely want to applaud you, Melodie. I mean, just this moment, this time, and I think that we began as Baha'i sisters, decades ago, and our children and raising them and all that. And and then this connection that has occurred more recently, which is in relation to the Right to Unite program, and, just incredibly facilitated by Kim. And the depth of that connection has only grown deeper and deeper as we share our respective stories and as we create. And so I am just so thrilled for you. I think it's so well deserved, in terms of your efforts that you've put forward. This amazing, loving community that's here, absolutely has been part of that support system. And so anyway, I'm just very grateful to be a part of this to celebrate you.
Thank you. Before anybody, I know you opened it up to everybody, but I need to say something. First of all, thank you, but also, yeah, so I wrote the words, but I didn't live it alone. And first of all, my family and friends were behind me all the way, and catching me when I fell back, catching both of us and holding us. And this is not a journey anyone can survive without that. So, I may be like, my name might be on there, but it's just a placeholder for everybody else who's been connected with this. And the other thing is that, I mean, the hand of God is present in absolutely every moment of this book. And every moment of the last 16 years for that matter. But just, all right, I'll be quiet again. Go ahead.
It's so beautiful. Phyllis, you have your hand up. Would you like to?
I would. Hello, sweet Melodie.
Hello.
So I met Melodie's son, Aaron, quite a long time ago. And it's interesting when you meet somebody who's the age of your own children and you're like super impressed with them, your first thought is, oh, this guy's mom must be really cool.
Oh.
And I actually had met Dick too, a long time ago, decades ago, just because of the various spaces that we were interacting in. And so what a joy to join Kim's group. And I see this name, Melodie Yates, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if she's related to Aaron and Dick. I'll bet she is. What a joy. What a joy to become connected to this woman who I admired long before I ever met her. And I think one of the things that I'm irritated because the review I wrote on her book still isn't on Amazon. For some reason, Amazon didn't print it, and I'm really, really irritated by that, because the thing I wrote, one of the things that impressed me the most about this poetry is this struggle with the ego. And I can so, my God, I can so relate to that. And this question that's like constantly bouncing around in our heads. Where is this coming from? Am I a hollow reed? Have I blown the pith of self out so that this inspiration from the divine can blow through me? Or is my ego all up in here? And we don't know how to sort that out. You know, how can we? Because we're dual natured beings. It all overlaps. And so it's this constant struggle to bring the essence of ourself at the same time that we're getting ourself out of the way. How do you do that? You know? And it's all the way through her poetry. I'm so proud to know you, Melodie. I'm so grateful for your friendship. I'm so excited for you because once you've published a book, everything changes. You're an author, and you're like, suddenly you can do all this stuff. So
That's
go
good.
girl.
Can I get to the front of the line faster? You know, I mean, thank you. Thank you. And ditto. And you know, those of you who are in the writing group, I just want to warn everybody else who's on this call. You will soon have the opportunity to see amazing, life-changing stories emerging from these women. So hold on to your seats because it's coming. Plus mine is coming too, the second one.
Thank you, Patricia. You'll have to unmute yourself.
I always have to be reminded to do that, whether in class or not. Melodie, I want to go back to, I don't know, it was a long time ago when we were working together, just four of us, three students and Kim. And I was very nervous, and I was doing like one written page at a time, and that's all I had to offer. And you and Jan, was it? Who was the other woman? Jan? Yeah. Were well into a book at that time. And you were writing poetry, which always scared me because I never understood it and I didn't know how to write it. And you just kind of came out with these powerful feelings, and through it all, through the nervousness and whatever, what I heard was you talking about something that I felt when I was caring for my dying husband, who was dying of cancer. And I don't, you know, things happen. Maybe he was getting cancer in his brain. Maybe he was just so depressed, he just kind of lost control, but he wasn't himself for very long after it was diagnosed officially. And it was very scary for me, very scary. 2.5 years of seeing him just go downhill physically and mentally. And I wished I had had your book, is all I have to say, you know. Just to not feel so alone. No matter how much sympathy and help I got, I felt so alone. No one could imagine what I was feeling. And I can't wait to share this book with friends that I have. You know, we're all aging, and if we're fortunate enough to still, those who are fortunate enough to have their spouses still, some are having the signs of things changing, and you know, the just noticing that they're working harder to keep that relationship going. So I plan to share your book and with a lot of people I know, and I'm very grateful to do that. I'm excited to say, I know this woman, she's an angel, and she's written something beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much. And the loneliness is just
Mm.
a kicker.
Yeah.
Pretty remarkable, isn't it? Yeah.
And you're alone and not alone. You know, you're surrounded by all this love and support and help, and still, you know, if you want to think out loud, you got to talk to yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Beautiful.
it's a tough one.
You did good by us. You did good by us. Thank you for doing what you I mean, I know you feel like you had 100 people helping you, but you crammed it all into a book for a million more, you
For the
know.
world to see.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you. I'm going to use that as an excuse when all the kids come in May and find out I haven't done anything with the house. Just, you know, I'm just putting you on, you know, alert that
Yeah.
nothing has happened except this book.
Mm,
And Janice, you as the editor, I'd like to kind of hear your thoughts of the journey working with Melodie to refine the words, to pull it all together to be the remarkable book that says, because you play a vital role.
Thank you. Well, editing poetry, I didn't really mess with the words that she chose because poetry that's the most personal style of writing. I just checked her spelling on that, but just to make sure that's how she wanted it spelled. Some of the spellings, that's how she wanted it, but I mostly edited the journaling questions, but it was a privilege to get, I mean, whenever I think about her book, I cried through most of it. Sometimes it was funny crying, sometimes it was, that's deep, that really touches on a place. And I haven't firsthand experienced somebody going through dementia, but I have had friends who've had spouses go through dementia. I've watched my mom be a caregiver, and my neighbor next door right now, her husband was recently diagnosed with dementia, and she has been in denial and is fighting it. And she's very much in kind of the angry phase right now. And I kept saying, this book has to come out. This book has to come out. And so I've taken her copy, and it was such a privilege and an honor. And I got to meet Melodie and get to know her, and that was also a privilege and an honor. And is Aaron the one that shares the birthday with my daughter? Is that the March 10th?
No, that's Nathaniel, our
Oh.
youngest.
Okay. It's such a meaningful book. Poetry is not my favorite kind of genre. I don't really read it in my spare time. But this was more than poetry. I don't know how to express it. It was, I don't know, stories from the soul. It was just so touching and expressive, and like Patricia said, I think it helps you feel not so alone. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, this person gets what I'm going through right now.
whether it was one of the funny ones or one of the harder ones to read, you know, so it's also a very quick edit, so that was nice. Thank you. Yeah, and the typos. Oh my gosh, those of you who know me well know I can't spell. Spell check was invented. I see the typos in this more. You were writing from a place of emotion. Who cares about typos, you know? That's what we're here for. That's what the editors are here for, is to kind of hold up that end of the emotion. So
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing. Catherine.
Hello, dear. I just want to say, I think Melody always has written with the words that she speaks. And I'm so glad that now it is on a piece of paper to share with other people who don't get to hear you personally in the way that you share your words with people by voice. So thank you for that. And I also just want to acknowledge that I think that poetry and the poems are the perfect bite-sized pieces that caregivers can take, because a whole book sometimes is too much to take in or read or even try to think about when you're going through that process. It's sometimes too much, but one poem or a part of a poem could be a bite size that someone can ingest and just let marinate until they're ready for that next moment, you know? So it's a perfect venue. And I wanted to ask you, for you as a writer, which piece, and maybe it's not one that's in the book, maybe it's something that is coming up, but which piece for you was the shift to say, yes, I will put this into a work that I'll share with the world?
Wow, I don't think I know an answer to that. I mean, I suppose in some ways, each one was a building block to getting there. I'm trying to think of the first one that I shared with the caregivers group. It might have been like the, kind of the ode to caregivers or something like that. I don't know the answer. I have to think about it. That's a fabulous question. I mean, you called me a writer, and my first thought was, I've only recently, taken that in as a real label of part of who I am. Also, like a poet. Are you kidding me? I mean, I don't like picking up books of poetry either. And then when I do, I'm just so glad I did, and I don't know why this stuff comes out as a poem. I have no idea, but that's just how it comes. I don't know, maybe, Lori mentioned like the drip by drip. I think maybe that was like, I know other people are, that's like, it's like this now, and it's gonna melt and be something, just drip by drip, the decay. Maybe that's the one. I don't have an answer.
And that's okay, because it's something that just kind of comes along, doesn't it? It just comes to life in its own magnificent way, the way it's meant to be, and the way this book came to be. Kim.
So I just wanted to encourage everybody who's on the call today, and everybody who loves Melody and people who've read the book, seen the book. Melody is a truly humble soul. And the marketing of the book is something that everybody can help with in our day of social media. And so, you know, I know Melodie wouldn't ask you, so I will ask you, you know, to post about this. If you have an email list, to email your friends. I think the universal impact, you know, that it's there. This is a book that can serve others. And so please let other people know so that they can be supported and assisted and become aware. I think sometimes in communities, we don't know the depth of loneliness that people may feel and the amount of support that's needed. And so this can be such a great service. The other thing that can be really helpful so that this gains more visibility to serve at a bigger scale is that, you know, doing a review on Amazon. When there's 100 reviews on Amazon, usually a big newspaper will pick it up and do a review. And getting to that 100 mark sometimes can be a challenge, but I bet all of you know some people. And just educating people on that, you know, take a couple minutes and put in that review. And these are the kind of things that, you know, I as a writer myself, and someone that's a little, you know, I have a love-hate relationship with social media, as I imagine many of you may have. But this is the kind of thing that, you know, the good use of social media to put out there something that can serve and to celebrate a woman. You know, women celebrating women, more of that in our world, instead of being jealous or envious, and but celebrating and knowing, you know, that each book that comes out, each accomplishment, there's a huge story behind it, and usually a very steep path of meeting a challenge. And any of you who have done caregiving, you already know the challenge. And those of us who have maybe not been in that position yet, becoming aware of what that can be like, to be prepared. Knowledge is power. So I just want to put that out there because I'd like to see this book really have an impact and really serve a greater number of people.
If you've
So
been,
just to
thank you.
speak to my humility, I want you to know that I've already picked out the outfit for my Good Morning America interview. So just so you know.
Yay, a little
You did it.
visualization. Yes, yes.
Uh,
Good, good.
And if you were on the launch team, there are some really nice social media images that were created for this so that you can easily share. And there was an email that was written where you can, you know, pick out little pieces or take the entire thing and copy and paste it into an email out to your database so that, you know, we tried to make it as simple as possible to share, but at the same time, you know, just every little tidbit. And if you are in a group somewhere, you know, bring this book bring it and share it in your groups. If you're speaking from the stage, if you're on webinars or any of those kind of things, there's so many opportunities to let others know. And I actually have an author who wrote the 21 mistakes that caregivers make, and have had a conversation with her about putting this in her newsletter. So, you know, so there's a lot of good little things that can come about because it takes a village. Not one person can do it by themselves. It takes a village. And as far as to back up what Kim said, in order for anybody, the companies I work with, to do Amazon ads, for instance, they have to have 100 reviews. And that's where it starts. That's when the magic begins to happen. And so that's where each one of us can make each little drip of another comment and another comment, and the reviews that are on there are beautiful already. So, you know, adding to this will help the world see this is remarkable. And Amazon notices these things as well. And says, oh, this must be a really good book. Let's make sure that others know about it. Ruth, I would love to hear your thoughts.
So I hope I don't get too overly emotional. I've known Melodie for a very, very long time. Our kids are close in age and kind of supported each other along the way of parenthood, sharing so much together in our Baha'i community, working shoulder to shoulder. And I've always had an extreme amount of admiration for her as a human being, as a woman, and a wonderful friend. And I've experienced, my dad had Alzheimer's very early on. And in more recent years, he passed away in 1995. But in more recent years, I wasn't like a total caregiver like she was with Dick, but my mom lived to 101 and her last few years had a lot of cognitive deficits. My mother-in-law lived to almost 104. And so I was very involved in helping her as she, declined. So having that experience, I really understood some of what Melodie was going through. Plus, I knew Dick well and loved him, and it was painful for me to see him decline as well. So I did what I could to support her, and she certainly was extremely supportive of me. So we sort of helped keep each other standing, I guess you could say. And I'm so proud of her. And I will try to support you in publicizing the book and continue to support you as my spiritual sister.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
It's not often that I am without words, so that should be a testament to what everyone is sharing and saying, the impact that it's having on me. I see all these faces, these little boxes, and each one of you represents such an important part of my life and my journey. And, I'm looking down in the corner. I don't know where, Yvonne, you are with everybody else's boxes, but, I think about how, when there was a delay, when we made the decision to go ahead and transition Dick into a care facility, which was really hard. And, there was a delay and all the kids, what particularly Aaron and Tammy and, we're trying to stay to be able to be a part of that. So I didn't have to do it alone. They had to leave. And Yvonne came and walked me down the hall and through the whole process. And you just can't explain what that means to be there in those moments, carrying a chair and the table and the clothes down the hall and getting them all in the room before he gets there. So it looks like it's a place for him. Each of you have a place. And it's, I don't know. I can't. Give me a minute. I'll think of something to say.
And Joan.
Thank you. Dear Melodie, I want to say that I'm not only super happy to be here, but I'm so grateful to be able to celebrate with you, celebrate you and honor you. I have to say that you are an immense inspiration for me, really, as a woman as a bright and courageous woman. And I do appreciate so much the way you're able to articulate our experiences, your experiences, with beautiful and very soulful words. And I'm sure this is what everybody's going to feel while reading your book. So let me tell you that I'm very proud of you, that I'm so happy that you follow through. And of course, we will be supporting the marketing of your book. I definitely will do that. And all of us will be waiting for your second project. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful. Well, as we wind down our, if anybody else cares to share, that's good. If not, what a beautiful day of celebration and support for a beautiful individual. And love is an action verb. The title itself just totally brings it to life. Love is an action verb. So with that, we will wind down our conversation today. Thank you, each one and every one of you that came in support of Melodie. What a testament to the person that she is. And you know, thank you for each one of you that have gone alongside and held and boosted our dear Melodie, you know, to come to this place in celebration. So with that, let's enjoy this day, celebrate this day, and treasure this day and the roles that each one of you played in making this an exceptional time. Thank you.
Thank you.